Hey there, everybody, and welcome once again to a special edition of the Shadow Gallery. I, as am always, your host, James Donnelly. And, well, this particular segment, we're going to be discussing something that's been on my mind and is weighing even more heavily on it since the DC renumbering. I don't really know if I can call it a reboot, but a renumbering. Um, and this is the former Sidekick. This is basically going to be a discussion about the former Sidekick becoming the main hero, and then being relegated back to sidekick-ish status. So I'll tell you what I mean. Within the last couple of years, we've seen two things happen. Two major deaths, quote unquote, in two separate comics universes. We've seen the death of Bruce Wayne, Batman, and we've seen the death of Steve Rogers, Captain America. Now, both of these were kind of built up pretty heavily. And then what happened was, in a really interesting way, their former sidekicks became the identity of the hero who died. Again, died in quotes. So, obviously, with Captain America, we saw Bucky becoming Captain America through the guiding hand of Ed Brubaker. And with the death of Bruce Wayne, we saw Dick Grayson pick up the mantle and become Batman through, again, the guiding hand of Grant Morrison. Now, this interested me in a lot of ways because it was, essentially, okay, the teen, the former teen sidekick had now become the hero, had become the main hero of the piece. They had assumed the mantle that they had, with Dick Grayson obviously trying to get out of the shadow of being, Batman's sidekick. With Bucky, it was more about redemption for all of the bad things that he did. Now, this to me was, particularly with Captain America, was really cool and done really well, because it was such a redemptive struggle to see Bucky, who had done so many awful things as the Winter Soldier, to reclaim, to claim the mantle of Captain America at Steve Rogers' request, and to see, Dick Grayson finally emerge from the shadow of Batman and become Batman, definitively. And because he had taken the role before in the Prodigal miniseries. But while Bruce was laid up, while he was recovering, from his back-breaking incident. But then within about a year, both of the people who died, both Steve Rogers and Bruce Wayne, came back to our reality, the main, their realities. And, well, in the case of Bruce Wayne, definitely resumed the mantle of Batman, but but he was going to do it in the global sense, and Dick would be the guy who would take care of all the Gotham stuff. With Steve Rogers, now he did not become Captain America again, but he became, as he is described, he is the top cop in the United States. He basically runs what used to be S.H.I.E.L.D., since there's still no there's still no defining act. It's still not Shield, but it's still a massive law enforcement organization. And that might be changing because I'm going to try and keep this as spoiler-free as possible. But for those who read, those who've been reading Captain America, have been saying, there's been little hints thrown out there that Captain America is going to, that Steve Rogers is, seriously thinking about picking up the mantle of Captain America again, and then in the most recent issue, in book 3 of Fear Itself, it seems that Bucky has died. That he has fallen in the line of duty. Now, this, despite the fact that it's done by at least with Captain America, is done by one really, really smart and talented individual, that's Ed Brubaker, but it's done with several people: Grant Morrison, David Finch, Tony Daniel, Paul Dini, Scott Snyder, Peter Tomasi, Patrick Gleason, all these people, kind of coming together and doing all these different Batman stories. It's troubling because in Batman: The Dark Knight, the Finch comic, it is Bruce Wayne there, but he's doing this investigation in Gotham. Which is not something that I really understand, since, essentially Gotham is supposed to be Dick Grayson's turf. So, I mean, at this point, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't read all the Batman titles, because some of them, frankly, just hold no interest for me, Batman and Robin being the most glaring example of that. But Bruce Wayne is supposed to be, he's pretty much only in Batman Inc. Other than The Dark Knight. If I'm wrong in that, please let me know. But I find it just really kind of disappointing, really, that they spent all this time building these characters into stepping into this role of being either Batman or Captain America, just to have it kind of taken away. Now, with the renumbering that's going to happen in September with DC, all of the Batman titles will be the ones with Batman in the name, anyway, or Detective Comics are going to be. It's going to be Bruce Wayne. Nightwing is going to have his own title again. And thank Christ that Scott Snyder is going to at least be doing Batman. He's not going to be writing Detective anymore. That Tony Daniel will be doing the writing and the art on Detective still. Well, not still, because Scott Snyder is actually doing Detective and Tony Daniel is doing Batman, so they're going to flip-flop. So, I don't know. I mean, it's like, have people been, have these companies been jerking us around for all this time to get us really invested into watching these characters become, kind of who they're destined to be, just to have them, go back to being relegated either to a solo role or a sidekick role or dead. Because, there is a Captain America and Bucky series that's coming out, and there's going to be a Captain America series that has already been teased with Steve Rogers, where it's going to be Brubaker and McNiven, which is awesome. The Captain America and Bucky is going to be Brubaker and Mark Andreyko, and Chris Samney is going to be doing the art. I mean, regardless, I'm still looking forward to it, but it does, if it's going to be Captain America and Bucky, is there going to be a new Bucky? Or is Bucky going to live through Fear itself. I don't know. I don't want these guys to go back to being, uh, you know, these other people for a while. I wanted them to stay. I mean, especially wanted Bucky to stay Captain America for a good long while because he's, it's really personal for him. It's there's a lot more at stake in Captain America as opposed to in for Dick Grayson and Batman. Um, but I don't know. So you guys tell me what you think, because really I am perplexed by this. I don't know why they chose to do it this way. To really only give these guys, about a year to really, step into, the skin of their, the people that they want, the people they essentially idolize, and, realize how much, how huge the shoes are that they have to fill, just to have it, snatched back from them. So, I don't know. Again, people, tell me what you think. Chime in. I really want to hear your thoughts on this one. So please let me know what you think is going on, what you think about this, and does it bother you? Do you not care? Are you glad to see Bruce Wayne and Steve Rogers coming back as Cap and Batman, respectively? So please, watch, discuss, comment. I really want to see your input on this. So I want this to be my most interactive discussion, if you will. Although I'm sure that only about 10, maybe 15 people will actually see it. But for you 10 or 15 people, I love you. I got mad love for you. So let me hear from you. So until then, this is James Donnelly from the Shadow Gallery signing off. Have a good night.